Hi guys. So that last video I just was going through and attaching my arms and my top eyeball and some detail area around my eyes. So now I'm going to talk about the additive process, not the subtractive process because my clay is too wet. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to add clay where I want to kind of beef it up in some areas. And I don't think I have much to do. I don't know, I might put some around the hips. But I think my legs are a little bit too thick, so I'll probably just do the subtractive process there. But I may build up around the arms a little bit, and I'm definitely building up right here in the front area on my nose. So I wanted it to look a little bit more streamlined. And right now, it just kind of goes from the lips right to the head. So I want that to be a little bit more smooth. So I'm gonna add some clay right here so you don't see such a distinct kind of separation between this top lip and this section right here. So I still have a little bit of smoothing to do, but you know, my clay is so wet because I literally just attached those eyes, but my arms are attached. Some smoothing to do there. But you can see how thick my legs are, so I'm gonna make those a little bit thinner, especially up here in this hip area, but we'll do that later. So right now we're just gonna do the additive process. So if you've got a section where you feel like it looks a little bit disconnected or it looks weird, it's probably because you don't have enough clay. So I'm gonna push this down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, let me turn this music down. Sorry about that. I'm gonna take this clay, and you don't necessarily, if your clay is still, if this clay that you're adding is still the same wetness as this, same moisture level, then you don't necessarily need to score and slip. But if you feel like this is a little bit more dry, you probably want to go ahead and score and slip that. But again, if it's exactly the same moisture level, you'll be okay. Now I have to be careful of my eyes because I added those, and I added them first because I wanted to see what they would look like, because I didn't know for sure if I wanted to kind of beef that area up, but I do. Excuse me. So I just gotta be careful around those eyes. I don't want to get too close to them. So when you do the additive process, you just want to add a little bit of clay at a time. You don't want to get your clay wall too thick. Now the key here is I don't want to come across, you know, my lip section, so I'm just putting my finger there to kind of keep that separate. And if I lose the separation between this part of the eye and the actual lip, I can get that back later. I'm not super worried about it, but I'm trying just to kind of stay away from it, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But that looks better already. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm just gonna use my paintbrush here, the other paintbrush. I like a stiffer paintbrush when I'm using it to smooth. That one I was using was soft. And then just go back in and make sure you compress that clay really well, because you don't want to cause an air pocket. I think my computer just died. Therefore my light just died. Okay, So see the difference now? Now it's not, I don't have that distinguished separation between the lip and the actual body of my fish alien monster. So that looks much better. And I'll go back in and I'll, you know, do some more details as the clay continues to dry. So let's take a look at the arms and see if I'm gonna beef any of that area up. Yeah, that looks so much better. Okay. Now he's starting to look like my drawing. Okay. I think I'm gonna beef up the arms like just right in like here where the attachment points are. So again, my clay is a little bit more stiff than the clay that I'm applying. Not much, but just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of slip. And I'll score that area. It's sort of like you're just kind of adding, you know, just clay where you feel like you need it. I tend to kind of do it in coil form. You don't have to. So I just want to give them more of a shoulder area, make it look like a smoother transition from the arm to the body. Because right now it's looking a little bit disconnected. See, it's just, I mean, you can tell it's connected, but I don't know, it just, I think it needed a little bit more to it. So now I'm just pulling that clay and blending it in. You don't have to add it as a coil, you can just get a chunk of clay and add it, but I like to kind of render the shape that I'm trying to get. Be careful of this eyeball, I'm gonna smash it. You know, just again, add just a little bit at a time. Don't get it too thick. Sorry you guys can't see this, I can't work that way. I'll turn it back around here in a second. Yeah, that looks much better. I won't do the other one. I'll show you the difference here before I do the second arm. I hope you guys are enjoying making your alien monster creatures. I'm enjoying looking at your pictures as you guys send them in to me. This arm needs some support. It keeps drooping down. I gotta do that before I put him up for the day, or else when I come back to him tomorrow, that arm could be on the ground, so that would not be good. So if you have that happening, your little piece, your support piece keeps falling or getting in the way, just if you're working on that area, make sure that you support that section, and then before you put it up for the day, just make sure there's a piece under there if you have a section like that that is acting as a support for you, or else that will eventually fall off. Just because, you know, like I always tell you, gravity's constantly, sometimes gravity helps us in ceramics, but for this, it's working against us. You just have to use kind of your best judgment of like what you want it to look like. And I just keep going a little bit here because it's not looking exactly how I want. So I'm just going to continue to add just a little bit of clay right in this section. Again, this is the, that additive process. You got your basic shape, and then you're just going back in and you're just filling in areas that you feel like need it. And I think this is a step that beginners tend to kind of forget about, or they just kind of pass over. It takes time to kind of know how much clay to kind of add. So, use your best judgment. Remember, you don't want your clay wall getting super thick or anything, so kind of pay attention to how much you're adding at a time. And then anytime you add that clay, make sure you compress it or you're going to get a crack. There we go. That's better. Okay, much better. All right, so hopefully you can kind of see that, but I just beefed up this area. So like this part, see how it looks a little bit disconnected from the body to like this elbow? Well, I went back in and that's where I added that clay. So now it looks more of like a natural progression into the body of my alien rather than just kind of stuck on there right there, right? So we've got a little bit smoother transition than on this side. So I'm going to add some more clay right in here. After I get something to support this arm, it's going to be broken. Stay right there. I might smooth this into his leg, and there we go. So again, when you do the additive process, it's just a little bit of clay at a time that you're adding. And add some more slip right here. And you can do it in chunks or you can do it in coils like I do, but really I just do it in coils because that way I can match the shape of what I'm adding to. And then make sure you compress, don't get air trapped. And when you're doing stuff like this, you gotta be careful of the other little pieces you've got. Like I've almost knocked my toenails off a couple times. So just pay attention to that stuff. And if you break something and it falls off, don't, yeah, I know you're probably gonna cuss, but you can put it back on there, guys. So it stinks, but at the end of the day, it's not ruined. If your clay is leaving that stiff clay stage, you're going into the leather hard stage and you still have attachments to do, please make sure that you're spraying your clay, or take your sponge and get some water in it and then squeeze it over your form if you don't have a spray bottle. Ah! All right, let's see what his arm looks like. Fish is getting muscular. Fish alien. I didn't even mean to make a fish. It just happened. Must be my subconscious. I love sculpting like little cartoony alien things with you guys. It's fun because my personal work is more realistic. Well, it is realistic. So I always have a good time building these sorts of things with you guys. And kids always say, well, why can't we make realistic stuff? And you can, you know. It's much harder. And the reason I don't really do it with students too often, I mean, I do when you get into the, whoa, watch my, oh. It's just because you get really obsessive about, you know, getting it to look exactly like whatever it is you're trying to model, and you worry less about the actual work and the technique. And so that's why I don't let you copy other people's artwork. And that's why we don't necessarily do realistic stuff. Over time, we get to that, you know, if you take the upper level classes. So baby steps, remember, baby steps. Okay, take a look at that. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Much, much better. I'm gonna put just a little piece right here in the front. Yeah, his legs are definitely too big for kind of the look I was going for, so I will definitely be kind of carving those down. So again, that'll be the subtractive process. So just adding that clay in there where you want it and smoothing it out. And some of you might have done this and you didn't even know really that you were doing it. That's cool. That means you're taking your skills you already have and you're applying them. Sometimes you have to, you know, let this dry, set up a little bit, and then come back and make sure that you have it all the way smoothed out. Sometimes those little seams like to show back up. I'm just kind of comparing these two arms. That's all I'm doing. I know you guys can't see it, but I'll turn it around here in a second. Looking at the back of my sculpture here. Okay, so I just felt like it needed a little bit more right there. So. There we go. Now it looks like he's got connected arms to his body. And I'll probably still go in and take stuff out from underneath like the armpit area, just because now I feel like that part's too connected. But I just wanted to beef up this shoulder section, so now he looks more unified. So that's kind of a stopping point for me because I need my clay to stiffen, right? Actually, that's not true. I'm gonna, I forgot I was gonna put a little tuxedo jacket on him. So I'm gonna wait though, because I need to work on some ceramics 2 stuff. But that should get you kind of to a point where you're gonna go through and finish up your attachments, do the additive process if you need to. And then after that, the next video will be the subtractive process. So we just need our clay to stiffen just a little bit. We, moving slightly into that leather hard stage for the subtractive process, and then the carving process. So that's kind of where I am at. So I'll see you guys in the next video.